Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.
Thank you for joining me. This is KATI Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. We're back today with a short episode, and we're talking about nothing is as good as it seems or as bad as it seems. So that phrase is really a powerful reframe. It helps ground us. From the outside, we tend to judge others' lives, their successes, relationships, their businesses, and assume either extreme. Either we assume they have it all together or they're totally falling apart. But here's the truth. Most of what we see is perception filtered through our own beliefs, our own insecurities, and our own assumptions. You know that perfect business that you see on Instagram? Well, they may be battling serious internal breakdowns. That person whose marriage looks flawless, they could be navigating private pain that we'll never see. And you may be doing better than you think, even when it feels like you're behind. Nothing is as good as it seems or as bad as it seems. So why judge? There's two main points for today's conversation. First is to shift your perspective, because when you are making assumptions about what you see on social media or in the lives of others, whether you're at events or whatnot, even teammates around you, you kind of make these assumptions. Those are really unhelpful thoughts. Those aren't thoughts that are going to create the kind of reality that you want to live every day. It's almost like your mind is taking you on a wild goose chase, which is unnecessary. It's totally a distraction, and it can really derail what you are meant to be focused on. So shifting your perspective is that baseline. And there's really three things underneath that baseline. First is to catch when you are comparing. So when you feel yourself comparing, how do you interrupt that pattern? And you could literally say to yourself, that's not my path. That's not where I'm at in my life. So even if they're like seemingly 5,000 steps ahead of you, they might be in the 20th chapter in the book of their life and you're on chapter 6. You know what? That's cool. That means you got a lot of chapters to go and it's not written yet. So catching yourself when you find yourself thinking those unhelpful comparison thoughts. Also, ask yourself empowering questions. So instead of like comparing and being like, oh, they seem to have it all. Why am I not there yet? Why haven't I gotten the things that I want? What do they have that I don't have? Those are defeating thoughts. They don't help. They're not helpful. But you could be asking, what am I learning right now? What skills am I building in this season of life that I'm in? How is this shaping me into who I need to become? So start catching yourself when you have an off mindset, thoughts about, perceiving others a certain way, catch it, and then reframe like, wait, if I'm comparing, like, where am I at right now? Like, affirm yourself and then focus on your growth, not your gaps. So you'll always have this gap between where you are now and where you want to be, or who you are now and who you want to be. But growth lives in that space where you can appreciate how far you've come, like while you're still reaching forward. So there's a book that I'm thankful I picked up called The Gap and the Gain. And it talks about chasing after the horizon. You're always looking ahead towards the horizon, you're chasing it. But here's the thing, it always moves. You're never going to reach it. And that can feel very defeating, even for people who are high achievers who achieve a lot. That can feel like you're never good enough, you've never done enough. And you're kind of living in this gap mindset as a result, which means you effing suck to be around sometimes, not all the time. But that could be like, then it projects on others around you. And what's interesting in this book is it talks about happiness and how our forefathers have ingrained really kind of a negative mindset for us when they say, we all have the right or the ability to pursue happiness. We have the right to pursue happiness. That assumes that you're not already happy. And the book start off saying, like, you don't have to try to pursue happiness. You can literally be happy now while in pursuit of whatever you hope and dream for. And so learning what the difference is between having a gap mindset and a gain mindset is huge. Part of the practices that they recommend is part of these empowering questions of what am I building in the season? But they also have you look back at what have you built already. So it's interesting. I put together a presentation when I spoke at a summit event, a salon summit event. And I wanted to go back to the basics for this group of individuals because they had no idea even who I was. So I just thought, you know what? I'm going to scale this way down. If I were at a music concert, this would be the acoustic set. I'm going to scale this way back, sit on a chair, be around a campfire style type of conversation, and just tell people my story. Here's where I started. And this is how our software company came to be. And when I put that together, I realized, wow, it's true what they say that you overestimate what you can accomplish in 1 year, but you underestimate what you can accomplish in 10 years. And when I look over the course of my career, there's just so much that's happened and taken place that I was like in full appreciation of the journey and all that has come about. And we don't ever sometimes sit and think back. If it's true that your past predicts your future, then today can be the beginning of the kind of future you want to look back at and say, wow, look how far I've come. I think sometimes how comfort can stall you too is like when you hit a certain point that you actually never thought that you'd ever hit, like a certain level of success, you actually don't know how to break through that next ceiling sometimes. And doing it is painful because you are pretty comfortable with where you're at right now, but it's necessary. That is not about today's topic, but it's just a side note of like keeping your mindset and your thoughts in the right spot, not worrying or thinking or making assumptions about others because nothing is ever as good as it seems or as bad as it seems. And the second piece to this is having that healthy self evaluation, like being emotionally healthy about the way you look at yourself. And so you do want to make that zoom out of your life. And if you were watching your life in the last 2 years, like you were a coach watching game footage and you're seeing how it played out and you detach your emotion and just observe, ask yourself, okay, what has gone well in the last 2 years? What could I have tweaked for next time? What would I tell a friend in my shoes? If they were in my shoes at this time, what would I tell them? And then taking that zoom out to help give you the right lens to look through going forward. And then name the story. So you zoom out and then it's like, what story are you telling yourself about how good or bad things are? Like, you know how one thing bad happens at your business and you're like, oh my gosh, is everything going to start crumbling? Is this a sign that all the walls are going to come tumbling down? Why do we go there? Well, fear. But you need to really pause and ask yourself, is what is happening in my mindset right now, is that even true? Or is it feel familiar? Is there fear tied to this? Is it familiar? If it's not something helpful, if it's not a healthy thought, write down the thought that came to you, which is, this is the beginning of the end of my business altogether. That would be the very unhealthy, untrue thought. And then rewrite it. This is one obstacle that I will overcome and learn from. And in time, we'll see the benefits of how I was meant to go through this experience. We need to neutralize our extremes because, especially just being emotional, creative people, we sometimes we're either winning or losing. Like there's no in between in our lives. Are you in a winning season or a losing season? Like that's extreme. And the win isn't everything. I mean, the setback isn't the ruin of your life. So when you stay neutral, you can more be an observer of your situation and you learn from it. Um, and never, never, never attach your identity to it. You are not any failures that you've experienced. Notice I didn't say you aren't any failures that you've done. Whatever you experience that turns out not to go the way you thought is such a learning lesson. And I've been there. There was a very tough decision where I had literally sold one of our businesses. This is nothing software related, but I was in this great place of like, finally, I found a new leader to take over this business. It would have been great. And then this terrible thing happened. And I was like, okay, I don't think I can actually give this business to this great person I know. I wouldn't feel right handing it over in the position that it's in right now. And my just conscience said, nope, I can't do this deal. I have to, unfortunately, kind of go back on the deal and close this business down completely. I've literally gone through what it means to start a business from scratch, actually multiple. I've started multiple brands from scratch, from Beyond the Technique podcast being one of them, Maya, industry software, your marketing all-inclusive solution to everything getting you and keeping you clients. And Be Inspired Salon, which is still 2 location, awesome, thriving, incredible salon in Madison, Wisconsin. These are all businesses I started from complete scratch. Having an Airbnb property, never did that before. So there were things that I learned a lot from having done them. And like also I look back and I say, gosh, I'm thankful the Lord gave me an opportunity what it's like to sell a business because the deal was done, but also to close a business because I knew that was actually what needed to happen. And it was the right thing. So now I've gone through all of those experiences. And what do you learn in all that? The way contracts are written, the way conversations go, what kind of financial statements you need to have ready and prepared first. Like there's so much goodness in having painful experiences that you don't realize till sometimes after the fact. But nothing is as good as it seems. It's not as bad as it seems. So prevent yourself from living in the extreme, like I'm winning in life or I'm losing in life. You know what? What if you say, I'm learning in life, like constantly? I'm learning in life and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to do that. And then instead of comparing, like, wow, they look like they have it all. How come I don't? Or they look like they're a freaking mess. That makes me feel a little bit better about myself. That's terrible to have that kind of mindset. It's not healthy for you long term. So instead of comparing, set standards for your own life. Compare yourself to your own potential. When I started losing weight and getting on this track of like, how do I once and for all overcome this stronghold of obesity and let go of this addiction of sugar that had such a hold on me and made me obsessive about food? Who do I need to get help from? What do I need to do? And eventually, like 3 years later, And it's a journey. You can't just do the right thing for a few months. You got to do the right thing for a few years. And, I said this to my neighbor the other day. We were out for a walk together. And I said, I didn't make one mistake this whole time. I mean, I've had last year I had 3 cheat meals. This year I have had 6. And when I say cheat meals, it's like I went out for dinner and I had salmon and maybe some of the sourdough bread with butter on it. Like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go have a buffet with the ice cream. I wasn't on a cruise ship living it up. I chose to give up alcohol because it is sugar and it led to my problem with food. And so all of those decisions weren't short term. This was like a long term commitment to a whole new relationship with myself that I wanted. And because of that, I hit this new peak where it was like my one goal was just to be able to shop anywhere. Like at the time when you're plus size, you don't have a ton of options. I mean, now there's a lot more options for plus size clothing. But when I was young, I had to shop on the men's side of the Gap store because there weren't other options for me. And then, of course, companies like Lane Bryant started popping up and Torrid. And then there was plus size at Target and Old Navy and Athleta and like so on and so forth. But it didn't start out that way. And so my one dream in this transformation was to be able to shop anywhere. Well, now I can shop anywhere. And that was a dream come true. And it was like, well, geez, if I hit this level, what is my true potential? I don't even know. Like your potential will change every new milestone you hit. So don't put yourself in a box of like, I've arrived. What's really powerful is now when I train, like strength training, I don't show up thinking today's workout means I'm going to weigh less on the scale in 2 weeks. I don't even barely weigh. I was obsessive about the scale. I might, I keep it as a benchmark because it's a KPI. It is a benchmark, just like you would look at your business benchmarks. It's one benchmark over the course of all these benchmarks for your health and wellness. So it is important, but I look at it less and less because I've kind of hit a point where I don't have much more to lose from a weight perspective. I'm just over 15% body fat. And my coach is like, I don't actually want you to be lower of a body fat percentage as a female. So then I'm like, well, what's the new thing I work towards? I want to have some gold. And he's like, putting on muscle, hitting new PRs in the gym when you're lifting. And when I show up, it's no longer about, oh, this thing I do today is going to affect the scale. It's like, I just do this thing because I love to do this thing now. It's falling in love with the process. That's like showing up to business and saying, no matter the outcome, like the outcome is going to happen. The outcome is going to take care of itself. So what do? I just show up and I fall in love with the everyday process of running a business, of training, of parenting, of all the things, right? So whatever it is for you, really, what is your own potential? Because what it looks like today may totally change a year from now. And that's cool and that's exciting. And that's the part to be focused on over the comparison. So to leave you with this, perspective is power. When you internalize the truth that nothing is good or as bad as it seems, you do unlock something powerful. You stop getting drunk on praise or drowning in failure. You see life in process, not perfection. And you stop chasing their life and start building yours. Ultimately, you become emotionally grounded, mentally strong, and spiritually untouchable. That's the type of person who inspires others, not by perfection, but by presence and perspective. Be authentic, friends, and just show up for yourself, not worrying about others around you, because nothing is as good or as bad as it seems, really. I hope this was inspiring for you today, my friend. And thank you for listening here every week loyally. I really appreciate that. If you love today's conversation, if you take a lot away from Beyond the Technique, we would appreciate if you take a moment to leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.